Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Now today I'm going to be taking a look at this album. It is The Who Sell Out. So a couple of weeks ago now it celebrated its 50th anniversary. Unfortunately, I missed that date. I wasn't able to film this review in time for that, but it was requested, so I just thought that I would do it now, a couple of weeks late. Why not? It's still an album what is worth talking about. So yeah, this was Who's third album, released on the 15th of December in 1967. The album is a sort of early kind of concept album, with the listening experience off the record, supposed to mimic listening to a radio station, complete with jingles, adverts, and also songs as well. Supposedly this concept came about as a way to pay homage to pirate radio stations, which again, the earlier part of the 60s had broadcast American pop music, which was inspirational to the Who. It was where they heard many of their influences, because again the early 60s, again the UK, the BBC rarely played pop music. So again the spring of 67, these pirate radio stations were facing a ban from the government. So it's also partly seen as a tribute, as a homage to those stations. In addition as well, the Who's management had seen the potential for the band to record adverts for different companies, whether Daltrey and Townsend didn't want to turn into doing this rather than making actual songs. They didn't want to just be doing these advertisements. So but on this record, when the idea of doing it as a radio show came up, they thought that it would be a good idea to maybe try out some commercials just for the fun of it. Musically, the Who were also being inspired by a lot of other more contemporary acts off the time, such as Jimi Hendrix, who was very influential on Pete Townshend's guitar playing. Maybe not so much on this record, but certainly more on Tommy and subsequent albums. Upon its release, the album was very well received by critics, but commercially it didn't do as well as many of the Who's previous work. Only reached number 13 on the UK charts, and America, when it was released in January of 68, it only got to number 48 on the charts. Its relative commercial failure compared to the Who's previous work could maybe be attributed to the fact that rock music was becoming a lot more serious, and that whereas this album is very sort of humorous, very light-hearted. However, once the album was released, the band were facing some legal difficulties, because apparently the actual Radio London said that they had used their jingles without permission, and also Heinz Baked Beans wanted money for product placement of their brand on the cover. So I will just show the vinyl here. This is of course a reissue. Original pressing of this are very, very rare. I have kept mine again the shrink wrap. There's the front, there's the back of it there. Very iconic humorous cover on it. I think the inside is just, the vinyl itself just looks like this, just in a plain sleeve on black vinyl. Also, this one comes with a replica of the original poster, which was only in the first 1,000 copies of it. So it's a bit of an abstract sort of psychedelic poster, which looks like that there. So that is the vinyl record looked at. Okay, so I'm now going to go over each of the album's songs. I will score each track out of 10, and then those scores will be used to give us a overall percentage marking for the album. If you're troubled and you can't relax. Okay, so the album starts with a song called Harmony, a City in the Sky, which is a interesting song to start the album. Really doesn't sound anything like the Who, certainly vocally, Roger Daltrey sounds he sounds very high, voice, singing this track here, and really just sounds like nothing like him. This song actually wasn't written by any member by any member of the Who. It was written by Pete Townshend's friend, a guy called John Keane, who like would later join the band Thunderclap New Moon. I mean, like the actual song itself, like it is pretty good lyrically and like melodically. It's just the actual album version, like the mix of it is very like all over the place and like quite sort of dated sounding, like very much like you can tell this was a 60s production like on this track here. But it is a unique song and like yeah, like isn't a bad way to start the record. So a 7 out of 10 for Armonia City in the Sky.
Marianne with the shaky hands, what they done to a man.
And then the next actual song like on the record is called Marianne with the Shaky Hands. Like before this, like there was a little advertisement thing for Heinz Baked Beans, which is an actual listed track, but like it's not worth like scoring, like it's nothing much really, like it is like just part of like the concept like off the record. But this is the next like actual song, and like it has a much more kind of chilled, like laid back, like acoustic vibe to it. Like it is like a nice change of sound like for like the Who, because before this it'd really been like sort of like top mods like sort of thing, like sort of like that being loud and like smashing like smashing like their guitars and that. Whereas this song like it is very sort of soft like and like acoustic driven. I mean lyrically it is quite an abstract song. There's lots of different interpretations as to what the lyrics of this track like on about, and like it's also got like quite nice vocal like harmonization like on it as well. So yeah, Marianne with the Shaky Hands would get a 8 out of 10.
Was the way she felt as she acknowledged the...
And then the next track is called Odorono, which is quite a solid song. Like it isn't anything much. It is sung by Pete Townsend, this track here. Like you can see him there like modelling like the Odorono deodorant. And like this track, it is kind of like a song combined like with like a like commercial. Like he's singing about like, how like this girl like should have like used like this deodorant because like a date like was like disastrous or like something like that. Like it is like a good track, like nice guitar playing in it, but not one what I would really play like in isolation like off the album.
Welcome to my life tattoo. I'm a man.
Now the next song is really great, called Tattoo, which is a kind of like a rite of passage song. Like basically like the narrative of this track like is like two like young brothers like go to get like their arms like tattooed like in like a way to prove like their like masculinity, but like when they get home like their like father's like not pleased like he's got like these tattoos, and like tattoos like and like beats like this boy up basically, like is like the narrative like of the song. So yeah, really creative lyrically. I mean like no one was writing songs about that like in like the 60s and that. So yeah, Pete Townsend, a very unique lyricist like on this track, and like kind of like band performance like as well, like is like really great. Like it's quite restrained and that, but like it really works well, and like Dolce's vocals like are also fantastic.
Our love was flying.
And then the next song is a really underrated track called Our Love Was, which I'm giving a full 10 out of 10 to. I mean, lyrically it's maybe a bit basic, this track, just about the ups and downs like of a relationship, like whether it is the actual Who's performance like on this track what makes it. Keith Moon's drumming like especially like gives the verses like a lot of personality, like where Pete's singing about like our love was flying, our love was soaring. It's like Keith's drumming like is just like so like euphoric and like really like brings like the song to life and like matches like the lyrical themes, which is something like what like I like appreciate. The song is also very sort of complex like as well. Like I mean like I won't normally do this, but like I'll just show you how many chords this song like actually has. I mean like there's like a like sort of like a normal song like there like about like 8 chords in it, something like that. Our Love Was has loads there, at least 20 chords like in it. I mean, and like because it changes like key like multiple times, just a really complex, really creative track I think. But I also hear like a lot of Beach Boys like influence like in like the vocals. Like I think Pet Sounds could have been like an influence like on like the Who. Like I don't think like they have said, but certainly like on this song like and like a few others, like the harmony vocals like on it like are like a lot more considered than previous Who albums. And then we get the last song on side 1, which is probably the most well-known track like on the album I Can See for Miles, which I would also give a 10 out of 10 to. This was an attempt by the band to create the hardest, like most rocking, intense song like of its time. I really like the structure like of this track again, like kind of like the menacing verses, like and like the like euphoric like sing-along chorus. And then also Keith Moon's drumming like as well is just stunning like on this song, like really like something like to behold this track. This is still the Who's biggest charting single like in like America, where it got to number 9. In the UK it only reached number 10, like say only, like, but Pete Townsend thought that this song like was worthy like of like a number 1, felt that it was kind of like he couldn't top this song like at this time. So yeah, like he was quite disappointed like with the performance like of this song, but it's still a great track though. I Can See for Miles.
Can't reach you. I strain my eyes, I can't reach you.
And then we open up side 2 with another great song called I Can't Reach You, which is really underrated track. It's just so sort of upbeat, like I love like the sound on it. Like you've got like I think it's like some sort of keyboard, like a mellotron or something. Like again, the Who, they are expanding like their palette like of sound, like what like they like use like on this record. It's not just like guitars and that, like it's not just guitars, they're using different keyboards and stuff, which I think works really well like on this record. Yeah, just a really great upbeat track. I mean, like lyrically it isn't abstract like some like other stuff. I think it makes sort of sense, this track, but like at the same time like the lyrics like, they're not boring like or predictable. It is just a great song. Like certainly should have been like a single, this track, because I think it would have done very well.
Relax and settle down. Let your mind.
And then following that up, we get another song called Relax, which is another good track. I mean, lyrically, it maybe isn't as strong as some of like the other tracks like on the record. But it's still a good song. I quite like the organ like bed like in like the track, what kind of just like pins the song down. But like beyond that, it really doesn't go like anywhere like too interesting, this track. Like there's no like big key change like towards the end of it. Like it kind of just like stays the same. Like stays the same like for like about 3 minutes, this song. But yeah, still like not a bad track there though, and like also like some nice vocals like on it like towards the end.
Money, 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 money bags, there goes Minty.
And then we get, for me, definitely the weakest track like on the album, and like it and like I don't want to say it ruins the record like or anything. I wouldn't go like that far, but like it certainly like is like a blot like on like an otherwise very consistent record. It's John Entwistle's song called Silas Stingy, which is not a good track. This very annoying like melodically, like in like the chorus. Like it is catchy, but it's just annoying, and like lyrically it's just not brilliant either. It's like a childlike sort of nursery rhyme, which I personally think should have been like replaced with like so many like of like the other great like B-sides like what they had like out like around this time, and like also like unreleased stuff. Like I've got like the CD like off the record like which I haven't pulled out, but like there you get about 12 like other songs which didn't make it like onto the record. And like the fact that like the left off stuff like Early Morning Cold Taxi, Someone's Coming, and Glow Girl like off this record, like when they put like this piece of rubbish on it, like it just seems quite puzzling to me.
You take away the breath I was keeping for sunrise.
Now the penultimate song is called Sunrise, which is a much more quieter Pete Townsend solo recording, like apparently like added to the album like at like the last minute. The lyrics are just lovely, like and like reflective. Maybe this song could have benefited from being placed earlier on, like in like the record. Like at this point, like coming after Silas Stingy, like it just seems like a bit of like, okay, we need to pick things up a little bit. Like, but it is a really good track, like one which I certainly do like enjoy playing like by itself, like out with the record. You can also hear like a little bit of like where like he was got like this like Pinball Wizard like guitar riff like from. He does the same sort of chord sequence in the middle of this song. So yeah, like a great song there, Sunrise. And then it closes with probably the most ambitious song like on the record, a song called Vielle, which has really grown on me. I think like when like I first reviewed this record like about 2 years ago, I wasn't too big like on this track, but just recently it has really grown on me. It is a kind of rock opera, like mini opera style thing, like similar like in style like to the song A Quick One While He's Away. I mean, like, some of, like, the mixing, like, on this, it is slightly dated, like, kind of, like, the panning, like, on it. Like, it could certainly do, like, with, like, a good, like, sort of, like, modern remix, like, this song, like, kind of, like, centering, like, everything, like, making, like, the mix, like, just a bit more pleasing. There's also, like, some elements, like, of Tommy, like, as well, like, the underture, like, of Tommy, like, on, like, this track here, which, it comes in, like, the second half. Like, I mean, like, it's about 5 minutes, this song, but, like, it really doesn't drag, and, like, is, like, a very good way to end the album, I think. Okay, so overall, this album scores 82%. So I would say this is a really great collection, like, of quite complex pop songs. It is held together well, like, by, like, the concept, like, especially, like, on, like, the first side, like, where, like, it does begin to falter towards the end, like, off, like, the record. Like, there's not, like, any jingles, like, or, like, radio, like, inserts, like, or like, commercials, like, on, like, the second side. It kind of seems like they ran out, like, of, like, ideas, like, when, like, in actual fact, like, they've recorded so many, like, other commercials and, like, jingles, like, as well, what could have been used, like, but for some reason, like, they decided, like, just to rush, like, the second side and, like, just do songs, which for me kind of makes the album, like, lose, like, a bit of, like, its, like, unique selling point, like, if, like, you will, like, what it began, like, so well with. I'd say vocally this is possibly the Who's most interesting record. Like, some of, like, the harmonies, like, on here, like, are just, like, really great, like, really, like, interesting, like, intricate vocals, like, on it, and like, the songs as well, like, it's Pete Townsend probably, like, at, like, his most, like, melodically catchy, and, like, also as well, they weren't taking themselves too seriously, like, on this album. Like, they weren't, like, rock gods at this point. They were still just like a British pop band, like, trying to make, like, a really good record, which on this album they really do very, very well. So certainly the Who Sell Out, a great record celebrating or, like, just celebrated 50 years. So yeah, thank you for watching this review, and I will see you all next time for the next video. Goodbye.